morning, baby Jins. How's it going, sweetie? How are you doing this morning, huh? Who wants a big aggressive back scratch? You do. Yes, you do. Welcome back to the farm, everybody. It has been kind of a crazy few days here that I need to fill you in on some stuff that happened, including the fact that we had more cattle escape and we had an entire herd of cattle just kind of rolling down our road and right through our front yard. And so I will explain to you guys what happened and sort of how things ended up. But first, I want to introduce you guys to the newest members of our farm. And no, we don't have any new geese on the farm. And no, we don't have any new livestock guardian dogs on the farm. Hi guys, hi. Hi Abby dog, hi, hi. Hi Toby dog, hi. Hi, 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 hi. Hi, hi, good dogs. And no, we don't have new goats on the farm. I'll let you boys out in a couple minutes, but I got other chores to do first. Come with me and I'll introduce you. Wait a minute. This isn't how it's supposed to be. What? All right, wait a minute. This is so confusing. How did we get these two chickens ending up with all these ducklings? When I checked on their food and water last night at around, I don't know, 7:30 p.m., I had 8 ducklings and 1 mother duck. And now this morning I have 8 ducklings and 2 chickens. And meanwhile, the mother duck is here running around, separated from her babies. What the heck happened here, guys? Do you know what happened? I am incredibly confused by this. This is not what I was intending to show you guys. So you see, about, I don't know, I think it was about 5 days ago, I discovered some new little ducklings that had hatched right in this nest that the mama duck had been sitting on for about the last month right here. And if you guys have been watching our videos regularly, you know that I've been waiting for these little ones to hatch because part of my next stages of reconfiguring my barnyard was to tear down this fencing here and open it up, and then I'd be changing where my chicken coop is and how all of that looks. Abby's telling the heifers not to get too close to the birds. She doesn't like it when they get close, so she chases them away. Abby, come here. The heifers are down in the lower line right now, and so they will sneak over here sometimes and try to get a little drink of water and like check on what's going on just because they're very curious. And so Abby actually does a very nice job of keeping them from getting too close, really playing on her livestock guardian capabilities. But yes, if you've seen our last few videos, you know that I've been waiting for that duck in particular to hatch some of her eggs. And so I was really glad to see that she was able to hatch them. But I will admit there was one duckling there that I was really kind of worried about because it just seems so much weaker and smaller than all of the others. But I am happy to report that they've all grown and they all seem like they're going to survive and they're all doing pretty darn well. You can even see that smallest, weakest one that I was worried about, that light colored one that you're seeing right here on the frame. They are growing up pretty well and the whole squadron seems like they're growing up. Come on, chicken, come on out. I want you out. Thank you. Let me flip over your bowl. Unfortunately, it looks like the chickens spilled all their food. And at some point this morning, I'll try to use my net to catch Mama Duck, who's over here. But I also have to be careful. I don't want all the goslings or geese to try to come in here and create chaos. They're already kind of beating up on Mama Duck, who's very just interested in coming back to her little ones. Oh, hang on, Mama Duck. I'll rescue you. Okay, Mama Duck, you get to go back in with your little ones. Yeah, I have no idea how she got out, but she did. And I don't know how the chickens got in either. You know, when I've used this coop in the past, typically what I've found is like little birds can sometimes slip through the bottom, but there really is no space to slip under the bottom here this time. But somehow they're busting out. Oh, wait. I bet you this is how they're busting out. Somebody broke a hole through this. You can see it just like so. I'm gonna have to repair this. I bet you this is how she's getting out. What do you think, Abby dog? Is that how she's breaking out? Huh? Huh? I'll hook you up with some food. Excuse me, Goose. You're not supposed to be eating that food. Please don't do that. Hey, no, that food is not for you. Please don't do that. Excuse me, Goose. That food is not for you. You're persistent. Oh! And now the most dangerous thing I can do is this. So now for those folks who are wondering, why did I put this mama duck in this coop separated from everybody else, when with all of the other ducklings I have had hatch this year, I kept them, or for the most part, I kept all of them with their moms in this like little habitat area that I have, like Baker and her dozen, plus the other runner duck who hatched out a bunch. And the reason is because number one, this habitat I actually built to keep them safe, but I really have to tear it down so I can tackle a couple of other things and get ready for winter. And then two, I didn't want to have them have to compete with the other birds for resources, and there's so many other birds out roaming at this point that I felt like it just made more sense to keep them in that nursery for, I don't know, probably I'll keep them for a couple more days before they just get a little bit bigger, and then I'll let them run free with everybody else. But one of the things I'm gonna actually start doing this morning is tearing this all down. And so this is the end of Weathering Heights, which is the experiment we first set up when the goats first arrived here it's almost a year ago to today. Come on, Bubba. There you go. That's the stuff. Right in there. Oh, come on, Bubba.
Hey, Ben. It's okay, baby.
Easy help.
Come on. You're okay, baby. Hey, come here, come here.
So yeah, we have goats. Now all we have to do is take them back to the farm. So a year and 3 days from now, it'll be actually when the goats officially arrived. And as you guys can kind of see here, I've got my catnip crop going really pretty strong. I don't think it's actually as robust as last year because of the goat pressure that they had to deal with. But overall, it's pretty good, and I will be selling catnip later this fall. And so, I don't know, that'll probably be like a November-ish timing because I gotta still harvest and dry and then pack. But yeah, because I'm gonna be tearing this whole area out now, I wanted to give them just like a little bit of a safe haven. And so yeah, that is the safe haven you guys are seeing right here. The other ducks like to come visit all the time. A lot of the ducklings that hatched this year, you can see them, actually a lot of them right here. Like those three, actually all of these ducks are all hatched from this year. Oh, you guys remember Brussels and Sprout? Let's see, I think that's Brussels right in the front, that black duck with the white neck. And then that's Sprout, kind of right behind that duck that looks like a young Ron Swanson. And then you can actually see Jerk Duck, who's like one of the grandmother ducks of a lot of the ducks on our farm. I think it was like either 4 or 5 years ago. I'm gonna have to go back and look. But some neighbors of mine who had gotten ducks, but they weren't really quite set up to keep ducks in the winter, they actually gave me 2 ducks. Yeah, it was like the fall of, I think it was the fall of 2020. Maybe it was the fall of 2021. I gotta go look. It all starts to blend together. Well, they gave me these ducks. They were 2 Cayuga ducks. One was named Jerk Duck. One was named Generic Duck. And they were like entirely black Cayuga ducks. You know, they've been here on our farm for many years. They've been some of the best natural mothers I've had on my farm. But I don't know, I would say at this point, they're probably related to, I don't know, I'm trying to think. Probably about 80%, 75% of my duck flock is now their descendants, whether they're the children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I think I even have a few great-great-grandchildren. Like, there's a lot of generations that have piled up here, all from those 2 ducks. And what's funny is, as you look at Jerk Duck right here, and you can actually see Generic Duck right over there in the water with a lot of her offspring. Like, all of those ducks that are either dark brown or black are somehow related to those 2. And I don't know, it's kind of cool just to see that. It is funny, I was just actually at the dump the other day and I saw my neighbors and we were just talking about it, and they were marveling at the fact that they're still going and that there's so many generations that came from them. I don't know, it's funny how your farm can develop in those ways, just given a little bit of time and patience just to see what comes of it all. And speaking of time and patience, it's time to go water the giant pumpkins and check on them and see how they're doing. All right, Tobes, it's one of your favorite parts of the day. Time to water the pumpkins. Let's go. Come on, guys. In you go. Ab, you want to go in? It is both an equal mixture of chaos and success here in this garden. So for those who don't know, our town is hosting a giant pumpkin growing contest. And actually my good friend Alfred and I have a side bet going on top of that contest to basically see who can grow the biggest pumpkin. If he wins, I have to name my barn after him and put up a plaque. And if I win, I get to name his little sailboat. And so, yeah, the competition is fierce. And I admittedly haven't seen Alfred's success so far in terms of what he's been able to do, only stuff he's posted on social media. But we've got a pretty good pumpkin right here. I'm feeling pretty good about those odds. There's another one back there. I've really been trying to hedge my bets. I got one there, I got one there. For most of the healthy plants, I'm really trying to ensure the best possible success with like each one having like one big pumpkin. This plant, which isn't doing as well, I'm actually just letting it grow all sorts of pumpkins so that at least for my birds, I grow extra food. So like, for example, you can see that one. There's like 2 more that are starting to pop up. This plant, I'm kind of worried is just dying. It's like almost being sacrificed to the squash beetles. It does have this one pumpkin right here growing. So I'm like crossing my fingers for that. But admittedly, my highest hopes are actually for this plant right here. So this plant has a ton of leaves behind it, helping generate energy and capture more sun for it. And then if you look at this pumpkin, right? Here, I'm gonna put my hand here for a sense of scale. This is what I hope is my award-winning pumpkin right here. I don't wanna count my pumpkins before they hatch, but I feel like my best odds are right here. I don't wanna get too cocky here, but I'm feeling pretty good about the progress. That said, I do think that there's been a ton that I've learned in the last really 2 or 3 months of growing in there, that if we do a pumpkin growing contest next year, I'll do things differently. Because I've learned so much and you know, I've grown hundreds, maybe even 1,000 pumpkins so far over the years here on the farm. But this is the first time I've ever tried to do giant pumpkins. And the strategy for success with giant pumpkins is so different versus just trying to grow pumpkins to feed our family or feed our animals. Hi boys, how's it going? One of the things that you have to do when you're growing the giant pumpkins, right, is you actually have to pluck the baby female flowers and toss them out. And I usually try to give them to the goats or the chickens or somebody like that. What's up there, Telly? How are you doing this morning? How about you, Barney? How's it going? Hey, Lauren, what's happening, my man? I've been so busy these last couple of weeks, or last week or two, I guess I should say, that the thing that I've wanted to do, which is build this goat playground, I haven't gotten around to it yet because I've just prioritized other activities and projects. But very soon we will be building the goat playground and having some fun with the goats, so stay tuned. If you guys have any sort of like things that you've seen other people build for their goat playgrounds that you think I should look at, send me links or videos. It'll help me as I'm researching and planning out what exactly I want to do. Because of my boys, they deserve a good things, eh? Lauren likes to rub his head up against my boot. Oh, Abby, don't get jealous. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we had quite the adventure yesterday. So it was like, I don't know, I think like around 11:30 or so in the morning. I'd kind of finished doing farm stuff for the morning and I'd gone inside and was actually getting ready for a phone call. And I was sitting in my office and suddenly I heard the dogs just start barking like crazy. And you know, that'll sometimes happen. Typically if somebody shows up at the farm, as soon as that happens, the dogs will go crazy. But then suddenly I also started to hear mooing. Not just like one moo, but like a whole bunch of moos. This time of year, I don't want to hear mooing because if I hear mooing, that means that my cattle are far too close to the house. And that actually means that we have a problem. Let's turn off the fence. And so I looked out the window and here is what I saw. And so seeing that, I panicked just a little bit more, but then I suddenly realized that the cattle I was seeing weren't actually my cattle, and my cattle were in place doing their thing. And it turns out another neighbor's cattle had gotten loose. And so there were about, I don't know, probably 30 head of adult cattle, all just kind of roaming through and doing their thing, going right down our road. And so I immediately ran outside, and there were actually 2 of my other neighbors out there, not the ones who own the cattle, but just other neighbors. And the 3 of us decided to try to herd the cattle back. And what we kind of came to the conclusion of, the easiest way to get them back would to be actually to send them up here and basically just walk them along this alleyway here outside of my pasture fence. And what happened is we tried to get a hold of the neighbor whose cattle they were, but unfortunately he was actually at a funeral. And so the 3 of us worked together and just got him up here and then got him in that back corner where they could be held until my neighbor could come pick them up and herd them back to his place. And I tell you all of this story, not because like I'm annoyed about it at all. I actually think it's kind of funny, but really because, I don't know, it just makes me very appreciative of the type of community I live in where something like that can happen and not everybody will panic, and instead we'll just work together and, you know, get the cattle back to where they need to go. And I will also admit that that anecdote is much more amusing to me because those aren't my cattle, but I'm also well aware of the fact that I'm not immune to having my cattle escape, and someday that could be me. And in fact, the neighbors who helped me, one of them, he's a dairy farmer and he's got plenty of cattle of his own that have, you know, wandered loose a little bit over the years. And the other neighbor, he doesn't have cattle now, but his family has had like a dairy farm like right across the street for years. And so he knows what it's like too. And so, I don't know, it felt like there was just like a lot of empathy, and it's kind of cool to see. I will say, it is becoming pretty clear that the summer is almost over. Even though I think we're still gonna have a high of about 75 today, it's less hot than it was. And it does seem like most mornings you can kind of feel that autumn bite. Come on, girls. Come on, Amelia. Let's go, Annabelle. Come on. I will admit, as I come out here and check this alleyway, I'm like looking to see if there's any other stray cows that are wandering around. But basically, you know, from the road, we walked them up the entire hill, like what you just saw me bike ride a couple minutes ago, up, and then through this lane, basically all the way around. We walked my neighbor's cattle through here. I mean, it's probably on foot, like going the way that we did, not cutting through the pasture. I mean, we probably moved them about 3/4 of a mile maybe. I don't know, it's probably actually not that far, but we moved them a pretty good deal of distance and then parked them into my soon to be fenced in pasture that I've been working on. I put in some corner posts, but I haven't really put up the main fencing yet. And so I think it served though as a pretty good parking lot. And I think the added bonus is by having all those cattle going through there, as well as my neighbor's cattle from the other week, I don't think I'm gonna have to brush hog back there, which I don't know, I guess saves me a little bit of work, so I'll take it. Jenny. Jenny, Jenny. Jenny, Jenny. Huh, I wonder where Jenny Barncat is. All right, Pablo, don't eat Ginny's food, okay? Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this update from the farm. I'm gonna go start tearing apart the old goat yard, and yeah, I'll be back again soon with another video. Thanks for watching, everybody. There you are, Jen. Hey, if you don't move quick, girl, Pablo's gonna eat your food.